So my name is Manisha Javeri.
Yeah.
So I was born in India and in a city called Mumbai. Have you heard of Mumbai? It's like Bombay.
Oh.
It used to be called Bombay, but now it's called Mumbai. It's very much like Los Angeles, very diverse, multicultural, racially diverse, language-wise diverse, diversity of food, clothing, everything, languages. More than 1,600 languages are spoken. It has its own problems. The caste system is a huge thing over there. In the religion now, Hindus and Muslims it's becoming a nationalist, Hindu nationalist country, which is sad.
Right.
And so I come from a very lower caste. And not only I have dark skin, but I have a double whammy. I'm also from a lower caste in India. So the four caste, and I come from the lower caste. So I was discriminated because of my caste over there. So the caste system in India is very much like the racism, subtle. Okay, so I experienced racism in this country ever since I got here, okay? And in my job as well, okay? In the current job too, with my colleagues as well. There's always a racial tension, and secondly, I don't speak like the way Americans speak. I have an accent. I'm from India. Okay, so my accent, my skin color, it's always comes in the way. Okay, a simple example. I could be saying the same thing as a white person has said, but that person will have more weight than what I would say when I would say the same thing, and that happens over and over and over and over again. So it's not very different from India. Their caste system was there. Over here, there's subtle racism. This subtle. Okay, you can experience it. You can't pinpoint it. Of course, I'm classified according to the American, the boxes as East Asian or East Indian, but racially, I'm just a human being. There's only one race, I think. It's a human race. That's my definition. I don't think that ethnicity and matters at all. It matters in the sense that we have to respect everyone's ethnicity and cultures because that brings beauty, and a plate with different kinds of food, that we enjoy. And ultimately, if you think about it, everyone on the planet, everything that we do, get an education, have family, or work hard, ultimately is for one what? To be happy and be loved. Right?
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
Is to be loved. Every one of us. Want to be respected, heard, and loved. It doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, gender you are. They all want the same thing. And that was my experience. When I traveled around the world, everyone wanted to be loved, to be heard, to be understood.
Yeah.
So I live in Pasadena right now. And I've been in Los Angeles since 2003. The community that I live in, it's across street about 210 freeway in Pasadena and Fair Oaks and Orange Grove. Okay, and it's a community. So if you go down 210, the housing, if you have seen in housing, 210 divides Pasadena into the haves and the have-nots. So 210, below the 210, the pricing is very expensive. So I bought a home right about 210. It's a very old craftsman home, and it has even a fallout shelter to escape from the Russian bombing. It was in 2011. So when I bought that home, many people told me I'm crazy, I shouldn't be, living there. That time I was by myself. My husband is just, I just got married a couple of years ago. But at that time I was by myself, and people were worried that I should not be living there because there's so much shooting going on all the time. But I thought that my skin color matched with my community over there, Mexicans, African Americans, and it was very much diverse. Lots of, there were many Caucasian communities as well, but it was very diverse. So we have a community neighborhood watch group. Okay. So I'm a member of the neighborhood watch group, and I was very active in the community a few years ago, but I'll tell you what happened, the event. So as soon as I joined, I was very active. I tried to actually even invite my neighbors to come to my place, but they felt, because I was an outsider, I was Indian, I was not Mexican or African American, they felt kind of a little weird, and they belonged to the blue collar jobs. I was the only professor. So they felt a little distant, even though I tried my best to welcome them. There was a little distance. So I tried my best to build a relationship. But then we did, the neighborhood slowly was getting gentrified. Of course, I feel responsible because I was the first one to move in that neighborhood. And then the others, I think there's a Hungarian couple that moved in. A couple of other people from Hollywood moved in the last couple of years ago. So I was very active, and then we used to meet in the community centers quite a bit because we used to have many, gun shooting. There was one time the event that happened was as soon as I moved into my neighborhood, in front of my yard, suddenly in the middle of the night, I hear a guy banging the door. Okay, and I had a glass door, so I could literally see him. He was banging it so loud that it could almost would have broken. And the police came a few years. Just by the time the police came, actually the whole the gang had moved out, and they were at the edge of the Fair Oaks and my street. And the police comes, la 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 la, just like nothing had happened because maybe they were used to it. And I'm telling them right in front of your eyes, look, they're just leaving in a jeep. They all huddled into a jeep and they all left in a van. I have no idea what happened with that afterwards, but so afterwards we started a neighborhood watch 2012 or 13, and then we were very active in the community. The police would come in the community, and it was very nice because we started, having we created a Facebook page group where we would actually post if something happened in the neighborhood, and we would always post. And my problem with my community eventually was that when people started getting gentrified, and there was some Caucasian communities, and there's a British couple of people moved in, and then the city was going to build a low-income housing at the end of our street. Okay, everyone in the community protested, everyone, because you guys know what happens when you have a low-income housing in your neighborhood. What will happen?
The price goes down for
The price of the property, the neighborhood, everyone's house, real estate housing would go down because nobody wants to live there. Mm-hmm. So I was the only one who was opposed to that. Because they were opposing that we should not have. There was a liquor store at the end of the street, and they wanted to remove the liquor store and build a low-income housing. So I was the only one who was opposed to it. I said, no, we should have low-income housing in our neighborhood, because how in the hell they would understand what it is like to live in a peaceful environment. That's if you are going to segregate people who are socioeconomically disadvantaged or racially different than you cannot talk about integration. You cannot take them out of the poverty. Okay, those kids over there from low-income housing need to play with the kids, our kids, so that they can, they learn lessons about how I can improve my life, and I don't need to, live the way I'm living. So I think I also said, we should have a low-income housing right in the heart of the Beverly Hills. So why not? Of course, that will never go, in Los Angeles. So I find Los Angeles, in my community, is very sacred. So we did not. Eventually, I think the city won, and we have a low-income housing. We've just finished, and I think people are moving in the neighborhood. But I faced a lot of flack, and so I was thrown out of the community meetings. I never got invited to attend any meetings. And so I've stopped doing that. Okay, and I just said, I'm not going to be part of a community that does not welcome everyone.
Do you think the divide is not necessarily racism, but like classism?
Both, yes.
Both?
Both.
I think
Racism,
racism going hand in hand.
both, yeah. Kind
okay.
of both,
Out of curiosity, so you said that when you moved in, the neighborhood was very diverse, and then it started becoming a little gentrified?
Yeah, gentrified by people like me and Caucasian couple and,
So-
other, it was all pure Mexican
Yeah.
and African American.
So these people no longer really live there? Like
They do.
Or they still live there?
Some of them do, and I hate to say this. Just last week, a house across from us was sold to us, some filthy Chinese who bought all cash. I'm sorry, but
Obviously, their
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah. So and the Mexican neighbors were the ones who were kicked out of the home, and it was bought by a Chinese.
So would the housing be appropriated for like those people, like the ones who are getting kicked out of their homes? Like, would those would it be obviously more considerate for those people to have this housing so that they could still live in their
Absolutely,
neighborhood?
because
Is that
they
what you
grew up
kind
there.
of were
Yeah, it's
advocating
because
for?
they grew up over there. You know,
Mhm.
I felt bad for buying a home over there too. You know, not knowing I bought the home because I thought my skin color is perfect with the people I live around. I don't want to live around people that I don't belong. You know,
Mhm.
but I realized that because of my education, my background, the country I came from, of course, you know, people have mellowed out of me, and we really do have wonderful relationship because once they realize that, you know, but the Mexicans and the black communities are being kicked out, and housing prices has been, you know, increased so much, and these Chinese are buying everything, and these are the Chinese who actually don't even live here. These are the Chinese who live in China and buying a property.
Just to make
If you
money.
look up online, you will see Pasadena is being bought by Chinese who don't even live here, and I'm totally against that. If you are not in the community, you should not have the right to buy. They are buying the properties. They are in China with their black money and buying the properties over here, renting it out at exorbitant prices, and driving away the people who are living here. And these people are forced to live somewhere else, you know, which is a very, very sad thing. So this is my biggest issue right now in the, you know, it's of course it's tied to racism, and so of course it's tied to your socioeconomic status. And education as well, because this Mexican community, some of them probably are illegal, at least one, not all of them, maybe one of family member is illegal. They don't want to go and complain because they don't want to come in, you know, be in the limelight, you know. So that's a huge issue, and I think it's an issue in many parts of LA, this gentrification. I think in East LA as well. Yeah, so you guys may want to do some research online to find out, you know, what's happening, what the problems are, how other cities are solving the problems of gentrification.
What's the average age of the white people living in your area? What does that look like? Because I know that the age difference is contributes to the mind setting of
Of
race
the
and-
racism,
yeah. So
Middle
what would the
age,
average-
probably.
middle age.
Middle age, yeah. Middle age. And the Chinese are probably younger, much more younger.
Wow.
hmm
And they too still have like a stigma or like something against having minorities in the community, or they want to build economically. Is that what your focus was on? How they were buying the houses?
Well, they
Or they
definitely want
wanna-
to make money, you know, make those homes $1 million homes. You know, they will tear off the old craftsman home and they'll build
Right.
their own mansions, you know, that don't even fit there.
It's not even about them engaging with the community. They have no
Yes.
engagement.
Because they don't live
Purposes.
here.
It's
See,
just
these are
buying
the
the
people who are
property.
buying, who are living in China. They have never even come here, but they have this, you know, friends and family. They're buying these people. Okay, I'm not saying against any other race. They, of course, you know, I have
Yeah.
lots of, but it's this whole idea of people who are not in our community. They're buying these places from China. You know, they
So at first you had tensions with your neighbors, but you became involved with them, so they
Yeah.
kind of were like, okay, she's
Yeah.
a good person in our community.
yeah.
But now those neighbors have kind of been pushed out,
Yeah.
and now you have new neighbors who don't like your standpoint of view, and now you're not even in the neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
So right now, your current neighbors, do you have no formal relationship
I
with
have
them?
one neighbor that they moved from Hollywood. They are Russian, half American, you know, mixed couple, racial couple. They are wonderful. They do. We have a wonderful relationship with them, and they are very, you know. So we do, you know, try to be friends with our neighbors as much as we can. When we have barbecues, we invite them. And,
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you think if you ever left, it would have to do with the kind of like tension you have there?
No, because I think it's, I grew up in a racially diverse, the reason I took up a job in Los Angeles is because I grew up in Mumbai, okay? It ties back to, I grew up in a run community where everyone in the classroom spoke different languages, okay? Everyone spoke a different dialects. We open our lunch boxes, everyone's food is different in school also. And even in our neighborhoods, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have Jews, we have Parsis, we have, you know, people who are expats coming from other countries, you know. And I don't know whether you know the history of India. India was colonized for 250 years. So we have British who lived in our community also, because many of them decided to stay in the community and not go back. And so I cannot live in a vanilla environment.
You desire that.
I desire, you know, diversity of race, religion, skin color, languages, food, everything. You know, to me, diversity represents everything. Multiple perspectives, you know, ideas, ideology, everything. But so there are people who, I think the current political context has made people so much, they have brought the worst out of them, you know. People are saying things to each other that they should not be saying. People are doing things, people are suspicious with each other, they're constantly saying, it's the worst climate right now. For you guys, you know, to deal with, because this is going to get worse. You see that America is right now divided, okay? You guys need to start educating. Okay, education is and being active. There is of course racism in America. I'm not denying that, but it's a tool to use to divide the people. Okay, it's like British divided India based on the religion, Hindus and Muslims. That's what they did. They ruled India for 250 years by dividing India, divide and rule policy. That's what, but Trump is doing that. I'll be very open about it. He is dividing America based on the race, definitely. People probably would not have behaved this way otherwise, you know. It's bringing, there was a change happening in America because of education, but he has brought this out and dividing America. And I think that the younger people need to realize that we are all one race, one human race. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, your language you speak. In fact, the more shades of color we have, the more diversity we have, it's better. Because imagine if there was only one language on the planet, one race, boring place to live in this country. And I think that the younger people like you should be the pioneers in bringing that unity back into this country. This country is full of immigrants. It's built on immigration. All the best people from around the world who want to work hard, who want to achieve something, want to make a difference, they came here. They left their birthplace and they came here. Okay? So, and that's something you need to start educating people. Okay? And in terms of community needs to, someone has to take a lead role. You will be always an outcast, but that's okay. You have to start taking a lead role in helping people. Little things you can do to make them feel welcome. Okay? And there is strength in diversity, definitely. So.
Do you feel like your ability to communicate with your neighbors has been a lot harder in recent times than it was before when you first initially moved over?
Yes. Yeah. I was able to communicate with my Black and Mexican neighborhoods better than I can communicate with the ones that moved.
How do you think you could, you could educate the people of color in your community, but how would you go about educating the white people? Like, I know that's much harder, you've had a harder time. How could you go about that?
I don't even get a smile from anyone of them, so, And so I must say I am responsible for not taking an initiative. I have stopped. Because I think I have a latent anger inside of me about what happened, and which should not be, because I teach the class of peace and conflict resolution. But I am not saint. I'm not Mother Teresa.
We're still all human.
Yeah, and I will wait for the perfect opportunity and the right opportunity to approach. When the moment arises, and something happens in the community, I definitely will take an initiative.
Yeah. So
that in 2020, you guys have a big role. You really got. Everyone you should take an initiative. Don't think that, okay, what can I do? I'm the only person. No, but everyone, if you inspire everyone, you can make a huge difference.
Yeah, but we gotta start small.
Every one of us want to be respected, heard, and loved. It doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, gender you are. They all want the same thing.